How are you doing?
You're a
You
little,
know what?
a little dark. You need.
Yeah?
I don't know. Got any lights on?
Hey, you need something on the front. The light that's shining behind you over your head is actually dimming, making you look dark. So
I am dark.
It's
Deep dark, man.
it's you're just
we weren't going there.
it's the Tom Cruise lighting.
You need a lamp to the side of you or Tom Cruise lighting. Oh, where's the agenda? Come on, come on, come on.
We're now live streaming online, just for everyone's information.
So mind your P's and Q's.
Thank you.
I appreciate that notion because today at county, same sort of thing. There was lots of banter going on before, and it's like, are we live streaming this or not?
Are we live?
We are live now, yes.
Yes. Behave yourself.
Okay. I'm wondering if Mr. Gorell and Mr. Olkier did know about the time.
I haven't received anything from them.
Should have.
Okay,
Either that or internet issues.
true enough.
I can imagine. I know I had to do another test today too to make sure. My compass. I'm still trying to get the agenda up, so.
We have quorum, don't we?
We do have quorum.
Okay.
And a message to board as well.
Just so you know, the COVID is not the worst part. It's the part after.
Just dragging your butt type thing.
Your lungs, your everything.
So you're saying that you're not 100%?
Oh no, I'm well less than 100%.
Yeah, you read that often.
Okay, I just received
Yeah.
a call from Brock that he's going to be joining us in a few minutes, so we can start to move along. Sorry to cut you off there. And if anyone hears from Councillor Olkey, let me know. Otherwise, we'll just carry on. I'm not sure if the clerk's on the phone with him right now.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'll text them.
Okay. Are we good to go, Madam Clerk?
We are just Jim Kent, a member of the public, is going to call in for the Vandermeer application. I'm not sure whether they want to speak or not, but just so you know.
Jim Kent, you said?
Yep.
So wouldn't it be for his?
Maybe I read it wrong. Yes, probably. That makes sense.
Okay, I was like, maybe. Okay.
He's not on yet though, but he's coming.
Okay, well, he's the last report, so I think we can get going.
Yep.
It is 5:32 on Monday, January the 18th, and I'll call this public meeting to order. Are there any declarations of any interest at this time? If you have a declaration, please state it now. And nothing to be declared. So we'll move on to number 3, which is the purpose of this meeting, and we'll move on to 3.1 Z-2021-001 Scott/Jordan-Bennett Geomatics Inc. 831 Grippen Beach Lane. Madam Planner, would you like to speak to that, or is one of your staff speaking to it?
Through your worship, I can speak to it. I'm going to share my screen just so you can see what we're talking about. So can everybody see the map on the screen?
We can.
Okay, so notice for the meeting tonight was provided to all surrounding landowners in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act. There was one inquiry from a resident in the area, just looking for clarification regarding what's proposed and whether there's any new development proposed. What this application is proposing is to rezone this strip of property from commercial recreational to shoreline residential. This little piece of property is being added to the existing parcel to the southwest of it. So the zoning is to ensure that the resulting lot following the lot addition is not split zoned in one zone in its entirety. There's no new development proposed through this application. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay. In order for me to see everybody, I need you to stop sharing your screen, unfortunately.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay, so now do we have, Councillor Maybe, anyone else that wants to get on the, okay, go ahead, Councillor Maybe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. I was just wondering why the severance doesn't go to the right-of-way roadway. There's still almost the same amount of property from the severed area that's being transferred to the front portion or the water portion to the right-of-way. Is there a reason why there's still that buffer zone? Thank you.
Through you, Your Worship, I can't speak to that specifically. This is the property that was applied for through the consent. I would note that the owner, Mr. Scott, is on the line as a participant and may be able to address that question.
Okay, I've got a raised hand,
Okay,
I think.
thank you.
Or maybe, hang on, participants. So Mr. Scott is on the line. Okay, wonderful. Would you like to answer the question?
I didn't want to sever more land than that. As simple as that.
Okay.
He needed it for parking. So it was, parking length.
Okay, and Councillor Jameson, do you have a question as well for Mr. Scott? Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, I think it's to the planner. This is not a variance. This is an add-on. Is there a difference?
Yeah, through Your Worship. So a minor variance allows for a variance to a provision. So say a side yard is required to be 1 meter, but you can only get 0.8 of a meter. A variance allows you to vary the setback. But a variance doesn't allow you to change from a recreational commercial zone to a shoreline residential zone. So to change the zoning, you have to go through a zoning bylaw amendment. So this is a zoning bylaw amendment to change the zoning of the property to the shoreline residential zone.
Okay, any further questions in regards to this application? I see no hands up. We'll thank Mr. Scott and we'll move on to the next portion of the agenda. So 3.2 Z 2021-002 Stratford Jordan-Bennett Geomatics Inc. 41 Hill Island Heights. So Madam Planner, you want to speak to this application and share your screen?
Thank you. Through Your Worship, this is another application for a lot addition. So the consent has been approved through the county. It's provisionally approved with one of the conditions being rezoning. So this severance is to be added to the parcel A, and the retained lands are the lands to be rezoned because, they're an existing undersized lot of record. So you can see that the right-of-way surrounds the lands that are to be subject to the lot addition. The zoning is on the retained lands because they are an existing undersized lot of record. So it's a site-specific zone just to recognize the resulting lot area. Notice was provided as per the Planning Act, and there's been no comments or public input received by the department in response to the notice.
Okay, if I could ask you to stop sharing your, wonderful, thank you. Any questions in regards to this application? Councillor Maybe?
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. The reason for the right-of-way being where it is it a topographical or a structural obstruction that actually makes it deviate into this other lot and then having this severance? A very rugged territory we live in, which is very beautiful, as we all know. So I was taking it that it could be a geographical issue, that why the right-of-way is so far into another lot line. Thank you.
Through Your Worship, I'm not familiar with the specific topography of this property, but it's a historic right-of-way that's been in place for a significant period of time. So the severance is really to recognize the historic use of the property together with the property at Parcel A.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Any further questions or concerns in regards to this application? Okay. And are there any, we have two people on the line, and I believe they're for the next two applications. I don't believe they're for these two, this one actually. So seeing no questions or concerns in regards to that, we'll move forward with 3.3, which is Z 2021-003 Vandermeer 827 Klon Lane. And Madam Planner, if you'd like to speak to that application, and then we'll hear questions and then input from the applicant if need be.
So through Your Worship, this is an application for zoning bylaw amendment to rezone the property from floodplain to shoreline residential. The existing zoning mapping shows the entire property within the floodplain. This is the updated Conservation Authority mapping that we've been provided with. So this blue line is the actual floodplain. So the site-specific zoning will take the property out of the floodplain zone, put it into a shoreline residential zone, which will then legalize the use of the structure on the property. And so notice was circulated in accordance with the Planning Act. There was one letter of support from a resident in the area, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. So any questions or concerns in regards to this? Councillor Beatty?
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. This is also the one that did talk about a septic tank repair that was required to that property. And I know it's kind of a little bit of a separate item, but is there any assurance that that repair or replacement of the tank will be done to safeguard the waterway that's in close proximity? Thank you.
Through Your Worship, there are building code orders on the property. The reason for that is to address the structure. Yes, there will be, the property is required to be brought into compliance with the building code orders as well as zoning. So this amendment is the first step on the way to bringing the property into compliance, and the applicants have been working with staff.
Any further questions in regards to this application? I would just like to note that there's a number, I'm very pleased to see that CRCA has stepped up and helped with this change. This has great effects on the ability to finance this property as well. If it's in the floodplain, it's not financeable. So those types of mapping can be very prohibitive to properties if done incorrectly or historically or what have you. So I'm very pleased to see that the CRCA has come forward to help these potential landowners and help work them through this process and not hinder the current landowners. So are there any questions in regards to the application for the applicant? He is on the line. I don't have any questions unless you want to add anything, Mr. Vandermeer.
No, everything's fine. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, so seeing no further questions or comments, we'll move forward to the last application. And the last application is Z-2021-005 Kent 156 Sand Bay Road.
Okay.
So Mr. Kent is on the line, but he won't be able, Mr. Kent won't be able to see the presentation. So we'll let the planner make her remarks, and then I'll take questions from councillors and from the public. And if need be, we'll ask Mr. Kent to respond. Thank you.
Thank you. Through your worship, notice for this meeting was provided as per the Planning Act. There's been no input received in response to that notice. This is an application for zoning amendment to satisfy a condition of a provisionally approved consent. The surplus farm dwelling was severed off of the parcel. And as a condition, the balance of the land, because it's designated prime agriculture, and prime agriculture is to be protected from being subdivided, this amendment is to rezone the lands to prohibit a residential use so that they're preserved for agricultural use. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay. Do we have any questions in regards to the application in front of us? I think it's pretty self-explanatory, and thank you for that short and sweet version, Madam Planner. Mr. Kent, is there anything you'd like to add to that, or?
Oh, thank you very much. That's terrific. If there's anything you need to know from me, I'd be happy to answer it.
Okay. I don't believe we have any questions or concerns at this point, so we'll thank you for joining us, and we will move on with our meeting. And I believe that's the end of the agenda. So I need a mover and a seconder to adjourn the public meeting. I've got Councillor Fody and then Councillor Maybe. Okay, all those in favor of the motion at hand, please signify. All those opposed, and the motion is carried. Thank you very much, gentlemen.